Rain taps against a fire escape. Neon flickers. A cigarette ember glows in the dark. New York City. A place where the lights are bright, but the justice system, that's where the shadows live. Throughout the 20th century, this city, with its 32,000-strong police force and a court system twisted like a maze, produced more wrongful convictions than anyone dared count. Suppressed evidence wasn't an accident here. It was a habit, and one case would have been too many. But New York had plenty. Take William Fisher, born in 1911. A Harlem speakeasy, 1933. A brawl breaks out. Fisher gets gashed in the leg, cracked in the skull, dragged out the back door. 2 men end up dead. One of them he knew. That was enough for Assistant District Attorney Miles O'Brien. He linked Fisher to the gun, the so-called murder weapon, and the court swallowed it whole. 15 to 30 years. That was the price Fisher paid for a crime he didn't commit. But prison didn't break him. He studied law, filed appeals, dug through the rubble of his own case, and in 1944, after 11 long years, he walked out on parole, armed with the truth. Because the truth was this: O'Brien knew Fisher had nothing to do with that gun. He suppressed ballistics reports, buried police testimony, hid everything that proved Fisher was innocent. Ambition was the motive. A judgeship was the dream. And Fisher? He was just collateral damage. Decades later, Fisher finally got compensation, $750,000. But no amount of money could buy back the years stolen from him. And he wasn't the only one. 7 years after Fisher's nightmare, Louis Hoffner took his turn in the dark. August 8th, 1940, a bartender named Peter Trifon is killed in a holdup. Hoffner is dragged into court on the flimsiest ID imaginable. One witness pointed at him. 2 others said he wasn't the guy. Their statements suppressed. Hoffner told the judge he wanted an appeal. The judge told him he wouldn't play with Hoffner's life. Life in prison. Just like that. But fate has a funny way of circling back. A law professor mentioned the case to a reporter, Edward Moury, who spent years digging up the truth. Witnesses, alibis, everything the prosecution hid. 12 years after Hoffner was locked away, his conviction was thrown out. And in 1955, Judge Fred A. Young confirmed what everyone else had ignored. The district attorney's office had suppressed evidence that proved Hoffner's innocence. He got $112,291. A mere token, the judge said, for the life they stole. Then there was Robert McLaughlin, born in 1960. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong photograph. December 29th, 1979. A robbery in Brooklyn's Marine Park. 15 people held at gunpoint. One man, Robert Halstead, shot dead. A 15-year-old witness, Robert Tobin, identifies a suspect, William Farrow. On the back of Farrow's photo is a note. He'd once been arrested with someone named Robert McLaughlin. Detective John Delia pulls out a picture of McLaughlin, the wrong McLaughlin, and shows it to Tobin anyway. Violation of procedure, violation of truth. But it didn't matter. The kid pointed. And that was enough. At trial, the only evidence against McLaughlin was Tobin's shaky testimony. 7 victims couldn't identify him. 4 witnesses placed him elsewhere, drinking with friends. Prosecutor Kathy Plasner hid vital information. Defense counsel didn't object. Even the judge said she expected an acquittal. The jury didn't care. 15 years to life. But the truth has a way of clawing through concrete. McLaughlin's foster father, a civil liberties lawyer, a homicide detective, and a Village Voice reporter dug into the case. In 1985, Tobin recanted, said he'd been pressured by police. Holtzman, the district attorney, didn't order a new trial. She hid more evidence. She fought the retrial. She even tried to block the judge. But the walls finally cracked. Detective Wright's notes surfaced, describing a killer who looked nothing like McLaughlin. Tobin passed a lie detector test. Holtzman's office dropped its opposition. And on July 3rd, 1986, Judge Feldman dismissed the charges. McLaughlin walked free. These aren't just stories. They're warnings carved into the bones of a city that never sleeps. Because in New York, evidence doesn't just disappear. Sometimes it's buried on purpose. And the truth? It has to fight its way out of the dark.